The meeting will come to order. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, June 24th, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Education. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Victoria Boucher. Roll call.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Here.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Here.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Here.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Here.
Mr. Bergarelli. Mr. DeRay. Mr. Howard. Here. Ms. Politi. Mr. Stewart. Here.
First up on the agenda is a public hearing on the contract for excellence, and that'll be given by Mr. Rothman.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Acting Superintendent Dr. Bond, Cabinet members, and Board of Education members. I'm here, as stated, to give a presentation on the 25-26 Contract for Excellence for the Newburgh Enlarged City School District. So we have presented information throughout the budget development process. And again, just to reiterate, this is part of the district's state aid in the general fund, and it is not additional state aid money. Since the contract for excellence was enacted in 2007-2008, we've had this set-aside amount, and you can see that the set-aside remained the same at that $9 million mark between 2012 and 2023. And then the state, began to increase the set-aside amount that we're expected to have. And you can see for the 25-26 school year, that number is close to $22 million, and next year, so the year after that, the 26-27 school year, we're expected to increase an additional 19% to $26 million. So there are several categories, buckets that the state requires for us to identify and allocate funding towards those different buckets. And you can see for the Newburgh Enlarged City School District for next school year, the set aside and how it's aligned to things like time on task, high school restructuring, teacher principal quality, pre-K programs, and English language learners. In addition to that, and one piece that was missing during the budget development was the fact that the 75% of the funds must go to the top 50% of the neediest schools. So you can see the allocations per school based on our plan, And those amounts are dictated by New York State. How much we have to allocate per school is dictated by New York State. The next slide, I know it's small, puts the two pieces of information, so those previous two slides, it puts that together. It is on the district website, but basically it breaks by school, by category. That is the information that is actually submitted to New York State. You can see also similar to last year, some of the positions that the contract for excellence is set to support for the next school year, including assistant principals, guidance counselors, social workers, psychologists, pre-K teachers and teaching assistants, as well as parent coordinators and coordinators of restorative justice. And lastly, the initiatives that are included for the 26 foundation, the contract for excellence, are listed there, So those are some of the initiatives that are within those buckets that I spoke about earlier. And these are really designed to improve student performance across grade levels, to improve graduation rates, to improve attendance rates. New York State expects us to focus on our E&L students, as well as focusing on our youngest learners so they come better prepared for kindergarten. Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Comments? Okay, thank you, Mr. Rothman.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next up is public comment on agenda items. Please state your name and what municipality you live in, and you have 3 minutes. Who's first up?
The first person signed up to speak on agenda items, Madam President, is Ms. Dawn Fuchek.
Dawn Fuchek, Town of Newburgh, Agenda Item 6.1. One of the most concerning aspects of this agreement is the clause requiring the Board of Education to provide the acting superintendent with at least 90 days' notice if they intend to end her term as acting superintendent before December 31st, 2025. This is highly unusual, as the standard in the field is typically 30 days, not 90. Even more troubling, the contract states that the acting superintendent will continue to be paid at the acting superintendent's salary through December 31st, 2025, regardless of whether she remains in that role. If I'm interpreting this correctly, she could be removed from the position but still be paid as if she were serving in it. That raises a serious legal and ethical concern. A school district is only permitted to have one durational superintendent at a time. So if the suspended superintendent returns or a permanent hire is made between July 1st and December 31st, how is it justifiable or even legal for the acting superintendent to remain on the books at the acting superintendent's salary? This arrangement not only defies logic, it also shows a blatant disregard for fiscal responsibility. Why pay someone at a significantly higher rate for a job they no longer are performing? The acting superintendent is currently on unpaid leave of absence from her position in the district as a tenured elementary principal. Why, if she returned to that position, would she continue to receive the salary of an acting superintendent rather than her principal's salary? Or worse, are you suggesting she'd be paid both? Has your attorney reviewed this document? Is your attorney in agreement with this document? All of this is especially troubling considering this board never had to enter into this contract at all. The district already had a deputy superintendent who could have stepped into acting superintendent role with minimal additional cost. In fact, the last time this was done, the district paid only $50 extra per day. That comes out to roughly $18,000 annually. Compare that to the additional cost we are now shouldering, around $117,000 per year for the current acting superintendent. That's entirely irresponsible. Why is there a longevity clause in this contract at all? Longevity applies to the number of years someone has served in a permanent position. This is an acting superintendent role, a temporary assignment. Why would years of service be accumulating in a position by definition is not permanent? Lastly, I noticed the agreement states the acting superintendent shall inform the board president when planning to use paid leave or personal days that such leave will be granted by the board president's approval. In contrast, the previous contract specified the acting superintendent could request up to only 3 paid leave days for urgent personal matters. Are we now to assume there's no limit to the number of paid leave or personal days? Is the acting superintendent planning to use this provision to accumulate sick and vacation time, potentially allowing her to cash out at a significant sum that she should choose to, if she should choose to leave the district? Should we now expect the acting superintendent to seek approval from the current board president by July 1st, when a new board president will officially take over?
Your
Because
time is up, Ms.
make no
Fuchek.
mistake, there will be a new board president July 1st.
The next person signed up to speak is Mr. Mark Levenstein.
My name is Mark Levenstein, and I live in the town of Newburgh. I wish to talk about Resolution 6.1, and I address my comments to the school board members. Resolution 6.1 is the proposed contract addendum for the acting superintendent. So let us go back for an understanding about lawsuits filed against our school district and their costs. We begin with the $45 million lawsuit filed by a then current school board member against the district that he was a member of. Yes, a $45 million lawsuit filed against the district, our employees, and even an IBM employee whose company was the district's P-Tech business partner. Thankfully, after a couple of years, a judge threw out the entire lawsuit. Next, let's understand the reason for a settlement that was made for a previous superintendent. The only reason for a payment was because of continued bad board behavior, which was the constant public comments by a board member, the same board member who brought a lawsuit against the district. Now the history of the current acting superintendent. This is a person who has had multiple lawsuits against the district with multiple monetary settlements. Furthermore, the acting superintendent has an additional current lawsuit against the district. So with all this history, and you include direction and collaboration with former board members who resigned, and from a former board member who sued the district, this current board majority voted for this acting superintendent to run the NECSD. The board members should be fully aware that many of their recent firings, transfers, and obsoletings of positions will bring dozens of additional lawsuits against the district. Do they know? I would say yes. Do they care? I would say no. So now getting back to Resolution 6.1, the majority school board members have proposed changing the notice of termination for the acting superintendent to be increased to 90 days from 30 days. Also in the proposed contract includes paying Dr. Bourne the superintendent's salary through December 31st. I do not think anyone here has the expectation that the existing acting superintendent will be in that position much after July 1st. So why did board majority hire this person known to sue her employer in the first place, and why would they propose such a generous contract addendum? Why? To satisfy the board's handlers and to give the acting superintendent a monetary bonus, but more importantly, to give her more support for another lawsuit against the district that they know will be filed. Thank you.
Ms. Angela Paul Gato.
I'm going to pass. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Alexis McCoy Yeakel. Okay. Mr. Dennis Grant.
Good hot day. Dennis Grant, City of Newburgh, City of Newburgh. I want to address something about, well, it's basically about the ex officio student board member role. I think it's a positive step forward for civic engagement, but we have to do more to make it meaningful. The changes I'm proposing are low cost, legally sound, and already working in other districts like Ithaca and Albany. And since listening to the seniors that spoke 2 weeks ago, the last school board meeting, I must say let's value their participations more. Number one, advisory voting rights. Let's allow the student board member to cast advisory votes to select resolutions, especially those directly impacting students, curriculum, students' culture, students' wellness. These votes wouldn't be binding, but they would be recorded in the official minutes, giving students a voice in real-time governance. It's symbolic but powerful. Number two, structured feedback loop. After reading it, right now the policy encourages communication, but there's no clear structure. I recommend we ask the student board member to host at least 2 student roundtables or surveys per year and report those findings back to the board. This ensures the student is a representative, not just a participant, and it builds trust between the student body and the district leadership. I'm aware this doesn't start until June of next year, but development in the idea, and also let's be adults about deciding what we're going to do. Another concern I have is I'd like to respectfully address the recent resolution granting Dr. Bourne a continuation of her unpaid leave from her tenured principal position, while simultaneously extending her appointment as acting superintendent through the end of this December. Let me be clear, I recognize and I'm trying to find a way to appreciate the leadership of Dr. Bourne has offered during the time of transition, but you make it extremely challenging, to be nice. Stability in the superintendent's office is important, but stability must also be matched with clarity, accountability, and fiscal transparency, especially in a district where every dollar in decision affects classrooms, careers, and communities. This arrangement raises a few important questions. As far as performance goes, have they been tied to the extension of her acting role? Has she been evaluated by the board? If the board number two, if the board retains to terminate the acting appointment within 90 days notice, what are the criteria for that decision? We don't want another lawsuit. And critically, if she is removed early, why is the public expected to fund her acting superintendent salary and end of December regardless of performance
Time
or
is up.
need?
Ms. Tracy Wallace.
Hi. Because we only have 3 minutes, I just want to address, there's many resolutions in the agenda, particularly 9.1, 9.2. I don't know all the other ones. All of these contracts that the acting superintendent is contracting as far as supporting the science of reading in our district. So to my understanding, we had a presentation from the deputy superintendent on our budget and then the proposed money that we were getting from the state. My concerns are that as far as I know, in October, the federal is going to severely cut funding, and it's going to affect a lot of people, a lot of programs in our district. And I know that we're going to be relying on those reserves, and I paid attention to the deputy superintendent's budget proposal and the money we were getting from the state. And every time we come here on all of these resolutions, there's a contract being more contracts supporting the science of reading. They're just contracts. And I just would like some clarity and transparency at least, to understand the effects and costs of the science of reading. How is it affecting, the budget that the deputy superintendent had proposed? How are these resolutions that you are currently voting on and continue to vote on? There are 30,000 contracts in here, there's 25,000, there are different numbers that just sporadically come up, and I don't understand how, there's drastic changes in our budget that we voters voted on for a budget that we saw and we understood, and then now there's so many budget changes, so I would just like some transparency and some clarity on understanding the science of reading and how it's going to affect our reserves, how it's going to affect our funding, how is it going to affect our budget, and, does this deputy superintendent, when she works, I don't know who's working on the budget at this point, because I thought that the deputy superintendent and Ms., I don't know if I can say her name, but was working on this budget. So I'd like to know who's currently working on the budget. Like, I don't understand who's currently working on the budget with these resolutions that you continue to vote on. Thank you.
Miss Melanie Collins. Okay, we'll move on. Mr. David,
Sorry, I apologize. Go ahead.
Hi. Melanie Collins, mother, community advocate, proud Newburgh resident. I came to answer a question that I was asked on social media. I thought that this would be the best place to answer it. I was asked by a former board member, Deb Ann Boulay, mother of 2 of our current board members. The question was, did Melanie receive a $3,500 check from Newburgh Enlarged City School District shortly after she put on a show at a 7/16 Board of Education meeting that was authorized by the suspended superintendent? The answer is no. Melanie did not receive a check for $3,500. I have donated space to the district and many other local organizations on numerous occasions. In this case, I charged the district for the use of event space for an event that the district had. But the question itself wasn't really about a check. It was a thinly veiled attempt to discredit me, to paint me as a rabble-rouser, which is the language that she used, an agitator, and a terrorist. The post where this was raised tagged my employer, it circulated in my community, and my family saw it, including my teenage son. I did not respond on Facebook because it didn't feel appropriate. Felt like this was the right place to respond, so here I am. I would like to say that I have enough experience with narcissistic personality disorder and sociopaths to understand the type of personalities that we as a community are dealing with right now. I showed up to that July meeting because I learned that a teacher, one with more than 50 internal complaints about inappropriate conduct with students, was being considered for reinstatement. That teacher was placed at my daughter's school, and one of the complaints came from my daughter's teacher. That is why I came and raised hell at that meeting, and I would do it again.
Miss Collins, This is supposed to be about agenda items.
Stop my time. It is. It is.
What agenda item is it?
So here I have a text message from Deb Boulay to her daughter, Victoria, where she says, I think it's Joe B. in
But
Victoria's phone.
what resolution
I'll-
are you?
6.4. By changing Lisa Bond's tenure area, it will be easier to fire her. You were elected to make change, and you're just saying yes to everything like Letitia Politi, which is disgraceful. You also mentioned you were going to rescind items. You did not rescind anything. Did they offer you the same deal they gave Letitia? First-class piece of shit. You know they make skim milk now.
Miss Collins,
Yeah.
you're, there's,
I know, you don't like what I'm saying, and that's okay.
it's
But I
not
was,
that, it's not that, I don't, you can't swear
what,
can't
what, oh,
on public comment.
I'm quoting a text from Deb Boulay to her mother, and I'm answering a question that relates to 6.4.
Time's up.
Okay, I'll be back. I got more.
Mr. David Ryan. Okay, we'll move on. Ms. Maria Pushkanter.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to speak to the vital roles of several key district leaders, Director of Middle Level, myself, Director of Humanities, Director of PPS, and our Director of Exceptional Learners. Each of these roles was intentionally created, strategically designed by our actual superintendent with a clear vision to elevate literacy, equity, and student-centered systems. These positions were not created arbitrarily. They were born out of a deep understanding of what our students and teachers need to thrive. And within that vision, the actual superintendent hired exceptional individuals, amazing cabinet members and directors, leaders who are intelligent, experienced, innovative, and inspiring. They are some of the most capable and dedicated professionals I've worked with in my entire career. Yet day after day, that talent is disregarded. We directors have not been invited into any meaningful conversations. We have not been asked to explain our roles, our expertise, or our work, and still we continue to do the work. For months, we've shown up under the weight of uncertainty while doing everything possible to support schools, teachers, and students without knowing if our roles will exist tomorrow. I want to take a moment to highlight the essential roles of myself and my colleagues at these positions. As Director of Middle Level Humanities and PPS, each of these roles serves a critical function in ensuring our students' needs are met. As someone personally holding a Science of Reading micro-credential, NYU bachelor's and master's, and certified across 3 states, I can assure you my work is rooted in both research and practice. As Director of Middle Level, I focus specifically on the unique academic and social emotional needs of students in grades 6 through 8, an age group that is not simply a bridge between elementary and high school, but they require targeted supports, identity-building opportunities, and instructional practices that reflect where they are developmentally. Our Humanities Director supports instruction for ELA and social studies with emphasis on equity, critical thinking, and evidence-based literacy practice aligned to the science of reading. Our PPS Director coordinates systems and supports to ensure that our students have a proper MTSS system, academic, emotional, and behavioral supports throughout. The suggestion that grades 3 through 8 should be treated as a single block is misinformed and harmful. Grades 6 and 8 have distinct developmental and instructional needs, just as grades 9 through 12 do, and just as the specific areas and needs addressed by our PPS Director. One size fits all doesn't serve students, and it certainly doesn't serve a district as complex and diverse as Newburgh. The most concerning part is that we were brought here to help lead, to improve outcomes, bring expertise to the table, and yet that table has been pushed farther and farther away from us. We must return to collaboration, build trust, and allow leaders who are carefully selected because of their knowledge and skill to contribute meaningfully to the district's future. As directors, we support our teachers so that they can support our students. We uplift our leaders to strengthen our schools, and when we return to that original vision of alignment, student-focused leadership, and honor the potential of this entire district, the focus of the needs of our children. Thank you.
Ms. Stephanie Smith.
so many things to speak on, but I'm going to focus on 7.15. I stand before you today deeply disturbed by the actions taken by this board over the past few months. Honestly, it's very sad. I have listened in silence as this board has prioritized personal agendas and vendettas over the well-being of our students and our community. The level of dysfunction and selfish ambition displayed is profoundly disappointing and is contributing to the erosion of our beloved school system. When I learned that A.D. Hodge was up for termination, I was both shocked and outraged. At that moment, I realized I could no longer remain silent. Who am I? I'm not someone with power or influence, but I'm a parent of an NFA North graduate, a current NFA Maine 10th grader, and an HMS 8th grader. I am also a former NECSD employee who has worked closely with A.D. Hodge and other athletic directors. I have seen firsthand the impact he has had and witnessed the troubling presence of the good old boys club that has allowed poor conduct, favoritism, and misuse of resources to persist unchallenged. At Newburgh, I have seen coaches mismanage programs, fail to supervise students, and ignore protocols, actions that put students at risk. Mr. Hodge, in contrast, held his coaches to a higher standard. He enforced expectations around training, supervision, and accountability, values that are essential for the integrity of any athletic program. It is unacceptable for anyone to claim that they were aware or uninformed. Coaches who have been in the system for years have witnessed and in some cases participated in these failures. To now scapegoat Mr. Hodge is not only unjust, it is a disservice to our students and community. The dismissal of Mr. Hodge under the guise of convenience or politics suggests a misuse of power. Accountability and sportsmanship should not be conditional based on a person's background or how long they've served in the district. A coach is meant to be a role model, someone who leads with integrity and inspires excellence. Mr. Hodge exemplified these principles. He modeled the standards he expected from his staff, standards rooted in respect, equity, and commitment. Removing him from his role will be a serious misstep for our athletic program. Our students need and deserve leaders like Mr. Hodge, individuals who not only guide them but inspire them. To the board and the emphasis on interim superintendent who does not have the decency or respect to show her face, my voice may not carry great weight, but I stand with Mr. Hodge. I pray that he receives the justice and respect he's earned.
Time is
and
up,
to
ma'am.
those pushing for his
Time is
removal
up,
without
ma'am.
cause, I shame on you. My voice is loud.
There's nobody else signed up to speak on agenda items. If you would like to speak on an agenda item, please come forward.
Hi, Sarah Maida, parent of a NFA student, at least for a couple days. So I want to talk about two agenda items. The first one is about the ex officio board members. And I really just want to say shame on this board for not getting your act together to get this done in a way that could actually be a positive for the students. The policy reads that you're going to notify students for candidates. School is over. So what's going to happen is a few dozen kids and their parents might actually see the correspondence asking for this or this on the agenda. This should have been something that's celebrated as a positive for this district. There should have been a process, and it should have started months ago. So shame on all of you, because now, how are you going to tell these kids? So that's my first point. My second point, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Everybody has said a lot about this extension of the acting superintendent's contract. I just need to say to this board, like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you supervise her. She doesn't supervise you. And she is running wild right now. She's on Facebook loving posts about calling students and parents in this district asshats. She's talking to a known racist on Facebook on a media person's page. And that's not even to start with that she's now got her wish list, shopping list on the agenda for tonight because she knows she's on her way out the door. So this is an egregious decision, putting aside the legal decision. There is no metric by which you can judge the performance of this acting superintendent from January as up to standard, and certainly no basis to award this contract that I'm not even sure is legal, because would require, whatever, I don't even want to get into that. At the end of the day, like, we need better, and this board has failed horribly in supervising somebody who has zero experience. Does she have a superintendent mentor somewhere? Do any of you know? Because she should. Have you sent her to any professional development? Because she should have gone. Like, she doesn't even know the basics of how to do her job, and that's what we're all seeing here. But let's throw some more money at her and set her up for a next lawsuit. Shame on all of you.
If anybody else would like to address the board on agenda items, please step forward.
Good evening, Sade Burks, City of Newburgh resident, newly elected school board member. I'm here to raise concerns about the agenda item to extend Dr. Bourne's contract. Let's be clear about the facts. Dr. Bourne previously received nearly $300,000 in a settlement from this very district. And despite being given the opportunity to return, not just to her position, but to the highest acting role, she is now suing the district again. She was handed the acting superintendent position despite not being qualified for it, after earning $180,000 while on suspension. During her time as principal, she was placed at an elementary school while being paid a middle school principal salary. That school was on the state's improvement list, and Dr. Bourne failed to submit a required SCEP plan, a direct violation of the state mandates. Instead of addressing that failure, she was brought back from suspension and then elevated. And since then, she has received a raise to $285,000 plus $17,500 in longevity pay and an additional $1,900 for her doctorate, making her salary greater than that of our actual superintendent without the qualifications or leadership skills. And now, this contract extension guarantees she'll be paid through December, even if the real superintendent returns. Who does this benefit? Certainly not our students. Certainly not our schools. This benefits one person, Dr. Bourne. In her short tenure, she has dismantled trust, damaged careers of those who held her accountable, and driven the district into a more previous financial state. And now, rather than thanking the district for a second chance and moving forward in her career, she is putting her hand out again, this time with the children and the taxpayers footing the bill. To Dr. Bourne, I ask, how can you claim you care so much about the children while accepting this contract at their expense? To the board, I ask, how can you claim to care about the children, and how can you claim to care about the community, but justify this decision for her raise? You are doing this on the backs of our students, and that, frankly, is shameful. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board on agenda items? Please step forward.
Okay, next up is the superintendent's.
Madam President, motion to go into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Purpose for advice from legal.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes. Okay, number 4, the superintendent's update. Dr. Bourne.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board, as well as the community. Just waiting for the presentation to go up. I'll start by reading the quote on the first slide. Reading proficiency is important because it has lifelong consequences and influences success in other academic areas. Many students with behavior problems or poor readers And many students with learning disabilities have more behavior problems than their typical peers. That's from the National Institutes of Health. And what we've found, the correlation with lack of reading skills and behaviors in this district. Next slide, please. Has been astounding. So one of the things that I want to show you, these are the referral for disciplines from 2019 to 2025. And I've also broken it out by subpopulations, by race, by students with disabilities, by E&L students. Give you a moment to look at that data from 2019 to 2025. Next slide, please. This is the number of out-of-school suspensions from 2019 to 2025. And the last behavioral slide indicates the in-school suspensions, 2019 to 2025. Again, broken out by subpopulations, students with disabilities and E&L. I can lead you to draw your own conclusions, but I do want to point out that when I was looking at the data, the suspensions, the behavioral referrals, in school and out of school, our highest population is Black students and Latino students and E&L, children, students who have E&L. Next slide, please. We have in this district a shared belief that every child deserves to learn how to read. And we need to make sure that every teacher can be equipped to help them. Change happens when we move together. The teachers in this district on Monday for the professional development, one of the things that they did was listen to this podcast, Sold the Story. I encourage all board members, all community members to take a look at the Sold the Story episode 1. There are 9 episodes, I believe, but the most powerful one to me was the Sold the Story. And what happened was we then had conversations as staff as to what happens next for the children in our district. And some of the comments that were made by our educators is that this is a long time coming and our children deserve to follow the science of reading and to be taught with evidence-based aligned strategies so that we will not have 70% of our kids in this district not reading. Our children deserve this, and we're moving forward with this. Next slide, please. So this was the configuration of our central office administrators for the 24-25 school year. I'll give you a minute to look at that. It's also on the board website, so you can look at it also later on at your own time. Next slide, please. This is the configuration that I proposed and that we passed the budget on as well. Next slide, please. So when we did the configuration and we passed the budget, there are still additional items that I feel that we need. So with the reductions in staff, $2,635,000 was the savings and reductions. With the 7 new admin positions to consolidate, that was a cost of $1,725,000. These positions, after looking at what our needs are, speaking to communities, speaking to teachers, I'm going to ask the board that with the savings that we have with the reconfiguration, to look at putting in these positions and finding monies for others. So what I'm proposing is that we have college counselors. We don't currently have dedicated college counselors at our high school. Looking to put 2 at Main, 1 at North, dedicated to making sure that all of our children who want to go to college have the opportunity to get there, especially those who are first generation. Looking to propose hiring an MBK facilitator. This job is way too important, and we need to extend this program for all of our children, including at the elementary level. Wilson Reading and an MTSS facilitator, a teacher on special assignment. We're looking to hire 28 teachers and certify them in Wilson Reading. That is a game changer for our children. 2 high school guidance typists, 1 nurse, 5 cleaners, backfill for the Wilson Reading teachers that we're hiring. Guidance counselors, I'm proposing that they be allowed to create the schedules during the summer so that by the time school starts, kids can have their schedules mailed home like it used to be, and schedules are set. And expanded after-school programs of tutoring at the middle school and high school level. I've heard from many, many parents that there is a lack of opportunities for our children at the middle school and high school level, especially when it comes to tutoring for them to play catch-up. So that is the reason why I did the reconfiguration, and I thank you for your time, and I thank the board for their continued support.
Thank you, Dr. Bond. I have Resolution 4.2 and 4.3 on consent. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I would like to comment on that presentation for a second. Can you put that slide back up there, please? So I will agree with training teachers in Wilson is a great idea, but insinuating that our guidance counselors that are currently in place at the high school level are not focusing on getting our kids into college is a slap in the face. And I can't sign on with that. I can't support that. I also can't support, no matter how many times you say it, your plan was not the budget that the people voted on. You weren't here on April 22nd. They reworked the budget to make sure that none of those positions would be cut, and then you came back on the 24th and pushed ahead with this. So that's not true. And baiting and switching and selling it to the public is not true. And there is no savings because we know that litigation is abound. And you're ignoring that, and you're saying that you're gonna give us all these wonderful things. It doesn't work that way. And I just need to be clear with the public that no matter how many times you say it, it doesn't make it true.
I want to respond to one thing. I never said that our guidance counselors don't focus on college students. We do not have a dedicated college counselor. The high school guidance counselors do a lot of things. They are overwhelmed. It's a lot of work. I believe we need dedicated college counselors. I never said the high school guidance counselors did not do college counseling.
Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Madam President. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Dr. Bowen, what you're asking for is 3 more guidance counselors, because all guidance counselors should be doing this type of work. So if we're saying it's overloaded, you're asking for 3 more guidance counselors to help spread that work out amongst more guidance counselors, because, or are you asking, are you saying specifically that they're not doing this now?
They're not, we need dedicated college counselors. They're doing college counseling amongst everything else that they have to do.
Okay, because if I remember correctly, and well, at least it's here, we tried that 2 years ago. Didn't we transfer the guidance counselor from South Middle School up to the high school specifically for that reason? And can you tell me how that went, or what happened with that?
From what I recall, the school counselors resented the fact that they were losing their students that they had been working with for a number of years, because they enjoyed working with them and preparing them, going through the process of preparing them for college. So many of them And school council, and many of the students didn't feel comfortable working with one person after working with them for a number of years. They had developed a relationship with their school counselors, and they wanted to experience that college planning process with the one person that's been with them for many years.
So my other question is, what would the cost of these 9 items, have you come up with a cost, what this would cost the district additional?
Yes, I have.
What is that number?
So currently, with the reconfiguration, we had the expense would be $960, a difference of $49,955, based on the savings that we had. So there's a $50,000 difference.
15,000?
50.
50. Our finance is not here, so I don't know, okay. But it's not, we're not currently budgeted for this, correct?
Not for all of it.
So I'd like to ask what input the cabinet has had, and Ms. Roaring isn't here. Dr. Freeman, Matt, can you please tell me what input you've had on any of this planning around this budget or any of this instructional planning has been?
The first thing I want to start with is we have an MBK facilitator. In fact, she's on the board agenda tonight in the HR to do the summer work. Yeah, she does receive a stipend, so we have that. We have that person, though. So members of the Board of Education, we are formally expressing a vote of no confidence in the leadership of the acting superintendent. Under the current leadership of the Board of Education as responsible executive cabinet members, we cannot ignore these realities. It is our responsibility to advocate for what is best for our students, schools, and the greater Newburgh community. The acting superintendent has failed to uphold the standards of transparency, accountability, and responsiveness necessary to ensure a healthy, equitable, and effective environment impacting both students and staff. Instead, since her appointment, the district has fallen into a state of dysfunction and chaos. In light of the board's recent consideration to extend the acting superintendent's contract, we cannot remain silent. As it implies agreement with poor leadership, extending her contract would further erode the trust that our students, staff, families, and the public have placed in you. Specifically, we cite the following issues as cause for this declaration. Demonstrated ignorance of the budget.
The speech is not appropriate.
I was asked a question, I'd like to answer it.
Not with the speech.
I am directing her to speak as a trustee.
The budget process and constraints.
Mr. Shaw, can you weigh in on this?
Is it a board consensus that I give an opinion about this? Typically, administrators aren't giving speeches during a part of this agenda. And if you wanted to speak, it would be at the podium, and it would be done at a time on non-agenda items. But in terms of the decorum of the meeting, this really isn't the time for that speaking.
So what's important, Mr. Shaw, is that there is no decorum in these meetings. We haven't followed any.
And as a trustee, I can speak when I choose, and I'd like to continue the message from our cabinet.
Thank you, Ms. Pulley.
Specifically, we cite the following issues as cause for this declaration. Demonstrated ignorance of the budget process and constraints. Recently, Dr. Bond arranged for a district-wide remote session for the purpose of providing professional development on the science of reading. That expenditure of $24,200 and the related contract was not approved by the board prior to the services being rendered, which constitutes improper procurement practice and is the result of poor planning on her part. Unplanned positions have been added in the 24-25 and 25-26 without clearly identifying how the district will pay for them. A clearly defined give to get and rationale which is the responsibility of the acting superintendent, is lacking. Expenses cannot be added without identifying the source of funds, and yet that is exactly what she has done. Each year, staff may be displaced due to changes in master schedule or number of sections. Contract language speaks to timing to notify staff. Changes after that result in additional expense to pay teachers for moves, planning, etc. These notifications have not all occurred. There is concern about time due to the additional construction this summer, making some buildings unavailable for weeks. Number 2, insistence on changing curriculum without a plan. Without any preparation or a cohesive plan for a core reading program, Dr. Bond unilaterally directed the district to eliminate the American Reading Company, ARC, as its primary literacy curriculum for grades K through 8. The district has an agreement with the American Reading Company that was not reviewed to inform termination timeline or financial impacts of the decision. She has removed the district's main reading program with no plan to replace it. She has instead introduced a patchwork of supplemental programs, including Wilson Reading, Handwriting Without Tears, and UFly, none of which are designed to serve as a core Tier 1 reading program beyond the second grade. These programs have been rolled out without a cohesive plan for professional development to support teachers and their effective implementation.
Ms. Politi.
Educators are
Ms.
left without
Politi.
the tools, guidance, or clear direction necessary
Politi.
to ensure student success. This created disruption, not reform. The science of reading is a laudable,
Ms. Politi, you
research-based
are
framework,
in
but it is
violation of
not a
Dr.
reading
Bond's
program.
contract right now,
NICED
putting
has
the
made-
district in
I am
jeopardy.
reading something that has been written by the cabinet. NICED has made that distinction clear. A successful transition to instruction grounded in the science of reading requires a cohesive, evidence-based curriculum, sustained professional development, and strategic planning, all of which are currently lacking. Number 3, increase legal liability exposure. Taxpayers will pay the price for her inexperience and poor decision-making. Saney's put the district on notice and explicitly identified the improper practice of her position recommendations. The district is facing legal liability based on these actions, creating positions that were not budgeted, which are largely the same as positions currently in place. NASA members are being terminated without cause, critical evaluations, or other supporting evidence that would warrant termination.
Point of order, trustees, there is not a quorum of the board in the room.
Unsound hiring practices. The acting.
Order, Ms. Politi, there is not a quorum of the board in the room.
So can we convene then?
They're not voting. So that would have to be asked by Mr. Shaw.
If that's the case, then the meeting is canceled.
So that-
We can't hold the meeting.
Can we end the meeting, Mr. Shaw?
Yeah, meeting to adjourn.
You cannot continue a meeting with less than a quorum present.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Legally.
Okay,
Because legally, it already cost the district anyway, so you might as well adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Shaw, can you give us a legal ruling on what to do from here?
I think you should ask the board members to return to continue the meeting.
For what? The meeting should be adjourned, because a couple of weeks ago, when there was nobody here, or nobody wanted to hear anything, the meeting got adjourned. And moved to another date.
Now the acting superintendent is leaving too.
Just adjourn it.
So since there's not 5 members, the members that are here, can a majority of them vote on what they would like to do? Because you don't have a quorum?
You need a quorum vote to take action.
So we all just stay here? So we all just stay here?
Step back, they're coming back, so just step back. Please sit down, Mr. Bernstein.
They have to figure it out themselves. Smart answer, not smart answer. Figure it out themselves.
They can still run the meeting, but there just can't be any voting. They can run it, they just can't vote on anything. You can run the meeting, but still not vote on anything.
I'd like to continue, if I may. Increased legal liability exposure. Taxpayers will pay the price for the inexperience and poor decision-making. Saney's put the district on notice and explicitly identified the improper practice of her position recommendations. The district is facing legal liability based on these actions, creating positions that were not budgeted, which are largely the same as positions currently in place. NASA members are being terminated without cause, critical evaluations, or other supporting evidence that would warrant termination. Number 4, unsound hiring practices. The acting superintendent has hired, attempted to hire, or promoted individuals to key positions who lack relevant experience or qualifications. These appointments often come with inflated salaries. The acting superintendent's proposed budget had executive directors listed at $160,000. Some have been hired well above that. Due diligence is lacking as troubling public records or professional histories are disregarded in making recommendations to hire. Number 5, lack of communication. There is an expectation that the acting superintendent or superintendent work collaboratively and value the options and expertise of the entire executive team to ensure a thoughtful dialogue and understanding of how decisions may impact the organization, operations, and ultimately our students. Instead of fostering collaboration and transparency, the acting superintendent continues to make unilateral decisions, shutting out staff, experts, and community voices from critical conversations that directly impact our students and educators. Board agenda items are frequently vague or missing critical details, with controversial items often added the day of the meeting. Number 6, erosion of trust. There has been a persistent failure to communicate transparently with district staff, school leaders, and community stakeholders. Major decisions ranging from personnel changes to program shifts have been made without a clear explanation or timely notification to those impacted. The continued lack of transparency reflects a leadership approach that is misaligned with the district's stated commitments to accountability, transparency, and collaboration, which was the platform the current board majority ran on. Number 7, executive cabinet role layering and leadership. Specifically regarding her recent decisions to restructure and layer in new hires in the executive cabinet without clear rationale or demonstrated understanding of existing cabinet roles and responsibilities. The addition of an associate superintendent position introduced another layer of executive leadership that directly affects the scope and clarity of the deputy superintendent's role while adding costs to the taxpayers. Executive directors doing the work of existing directors and assistant superintendents has created legal exposure while impacting the cohesion and accountability of the executive team. There appears to be a de facto reorganization underway, one that has not been formally presented to the board or shared transparently with the community. We have not been given a clear explanation of its purpose, how it is expected to enhance student learning, or what the true cost, both fiscal and in terms of lost opportunities, might be. Most concerning is that these sweeping changes are being driven by someone serving in a temporary role, raising serious questions about motive, authority, accountability, and long-term impact. This vote of no confidence is not made lightly. It comes after months of enduring leadership that has proven ineffective, inexperienced, and disconnected from what's best for our students, our staff, and our community. We call on the board to recognize the seriousness of this moment and to act swiftly and decisively to restore trust, accountability, and the integrity of leadership our school system deserves. We are prepared to engage in constructive dialogue and offer our perspectives, but meaningful change must begin with leadership that listens, leads ethically, collaborates with the executive team, and serves our community transparently. Sincerely, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Elisa Correo Soto, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Natasha Freeman Mack, Assistant Superintendent Joseph McGrath, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Shannon O'Grady, Assistant Superintendent Kimberly Roaring.
Thank you, Ms. Politi.
Resolution 4.2 and 4.3 on consent. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Number 5, the clerk of the board, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. I have the approval of the minutes from the June 10th, 2025 meeting.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Roll call.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you. Number 6, I have Resolution 6.1 through 6.4 on consent. Does anyone want to separate any out?
6.1.
6.
It's 6.1 through 6.5. 6.6 is not a resolution.
Yeah, but 6.1 through 6.4 is on consent. Okay. And then we'll do, okay?
Separate out 6.1, please.
Okay. So can I have a motion on 6.2 through 6.4
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Item 6.1. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Shaw, would you speak to the amendment?
I believe in the public content is a copy of the addendum agreement, and there has been a change made to that that can be viewed by the public at this time. That being done?
Yeah, that's on.
Okay. So what was the last sentence of the major paragraph? The first paragraph has been deleted. Otherwise, the agreement is as written.
Roll call?
We didn't have a discussion. We didn't have a discussion. I'd like to say something. Mr. Shaw, did you draft this contract?
Shall I answer? Okay. I drafted a contract. It was not quite in this form.
Is it standard industry practice to have a 90-day notice?
Shall I answer that? No. No, it would be more typical to have a 30-day clause.
Thank you. And is it in the district's best interest to have this 90-day clause in here?
I'd like to go into executive session if you want an answer to that. I'm not going to answer that publicly. I have a duty and you have a duty about this issue.
Can I have roll call?
President, point of order. The legal counsel asked for executive session.
Those answers were already given in executive session
So why did he ask to go to an executive session?
because the question here
Why don't
was
you ask him?
inappropriate for the public.
Ask him.
I didn't ask. Ask Mr. Shaw.
He asked to go to executive session.
It's my role to try to avoid legal liability for the board.
Okay.
So I've said what I've had to say publicly, and you've heard what I've had to say in executive session.
Roll call.
6.1 roll call. Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. Politi,
No.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
No.
That motion passes.
Resolution 6.5 is a first reading of internet-enabled devices and other electronic devices. Does anyone have any questions on that? This is just a first read and discussion. Ms. Boucher?
Yes, so this policy came from Governor Hochul, and I just want families to be aware that this includes any electronic device that could be connected to the internet. So that's a tablet, a laptop, a watch. I think the board as a whole, going into the summer, needs to discuss how this looks in our district, because I know numerous kids that bring tablets or laptops. So that was my piece on it.
I'd like to comment on this. We currently use Yonder pouches for all of these devices in grades 6 through 12. So now that it's being made law by the governor, I don't see why it's a big difference.
Ma'am, there's no comments from the audience. Are there any other questions on 6.5? Ms. Peterson?
So there was one thing that did come up that Mrs. Boucher, we need to talk about, and I really need to make the public and the community aware about their own personal devices. The law under Governor Hochul puts the district under a lot of restrictions when it comes to personal devices. And this could be problematic. So when there are those forums that we do bring, Mr. McGrath, we'll be having forums because we have to review the policy. If there's any comment, please provide the district with feedback surrounding that, because this is a governor mandate and we need to make that extremely clear to the community.
Item 6.6, this is the first read of NSBA recommended policies. NSBA has reviewed them. Any questions from anyone? It's just the first read. Ms. Peterson?
Also, I was contacted by the units, and they asked just to be a part of the review, so they wanted me to share that tonight as well, to have feedback and to give that feedback to the board. So I wanted to make the board aware of that.
Okay. Item 7, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Ms. Holder.
Good evening. Madam President, I have one item to walk on, if it's okay.
Can I have a motion to walk on this item for Ms. Holder?
Is it possible to hear what the walk-on is first?
Be it further resolved that upon the recommendation of the acting superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of Newburgh, a large city school district, hereby designates that the following individuals are eligible for appointment to participate in Wilson Reading System Level 1 certification program as listed below toward the 25-26 school year as per the collective bargaining agreement between the district and the NTA. And there is 24 staff members from the NTA and being paid as per Schedule N.
So moved.
A second? Second. Discussion? Roll call. Roll call on, to add.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart. Yes. Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
No.
Mr. Howard. Motion to add passes.
Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to, to vote on this item?
Is it a vote as a whole or just a vote on that one item? Does it have a number?
What is the number?
It's going to be item number.
Could be 7.16.
I'm assuming 7.16.
That's correct. So it needs to be a motion and a second on 716. Correct.
Second. Roll call.
We're voting on the item that was just added. Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
No.
That item passes.
Madam President, under Human Resources, I have items 7.1 to 7.15 for your consideration for consent.
Okay. 7.1 through 7.15 on consent. Does anyone want to separate any out?
7.12.
Okay. Ms.
7.15.
Okay. Can I have a motion on 7.1 through 7.14 minus 7.12?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yeah.
Resolution 7.12, can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Howard?
Thank you. So for the last 3 or 4 meetings, we've been discussing the potential litigation with regards to these removal of these abolishment of these positions. And I've asked our legal counsel in regards to the 51% rule and the potential litigation if moving forward, and I have yet to receive an answer. So I'm going to ask Mr. Shaw, have you had those meetings, and what is your legal advice in regards to going forward and facing potential litigation for these positions?
I would ask for an executive session. It would be a very brief one to go over the contingent legal liability with respect to these items.
Motion for executive session. I need answers on this.
Roll call.
Executive session for legal advice. Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes. 7.12 is already on the floor.
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
I have to say it.
Oh,
I'd like to amend to remove item 1, the 2.02 Director of Exceptional Learners.
okay.
So a motion to remove that line.
And the second? Okay. Roll call on, to amend, to remove that line.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Can I have a motion on the amended resolution?
So point of order, ma'am. It's on the floor. You just need to call the roll on 7.2 as amended.
Oh, 7.12 as amended. Roll call.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher? Yes. Thank you. Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
That item passes.
Item 7.15, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
That item passes.
Number 8, the Assistant Superintendent of Finance. Tonight will be Ms. Peterson.
Yes. So tonight for consent, I have items 8.1 through 8.13 for your consideration.
Thank you. Does anyone want to separate any out? Ms. Boucher?
8.3.
Anyone else? Okay, item 8.1 through 8.13 minus 8.3. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes. Item 8.13. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Discussion? Ms. Boucher?
Can someone explain what this consultant is doing and if the construction firm does not have a
Point of
project?
order, I'd like to clarify this is 8.3, not 8.13.
Yes, 8.3.
8.3.
So can someone clarify the position and if we are already paying for a project manager through the construction firm?
Okay, so Mr. Thurnow for the districts, right now, one of the abolished positions that we have gone through is the construction manager. That's something that is the district's representative over the project. So though you have a project manager under NECSD, we have to have a district rep. So he's acting within that capacity and overseeing that the district's, needs are being met on 2 projects. So we have our CTE that's active and every day that's going on. We also are starting on the projects of bidding and doing all of that with the New Windsor project as well as the oversight of Heritage and their driveway that was just completed. So he is the owner's rep for the district. He makes sure that the site is in compliance. He assists with, architectural plans, submissions to the state, all of those different things on the district's behalf.
Mr. Howard?
Thank you. So, Ms. Peterson, so he's looking out for the interests of the district. So who is instructing him? Who does he act
So
on
he's-
behalf of?
He's under the oversight of Mrs. Roy, the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
And his sole purpose is to look out for the interests of the district.
Right, so we used to have a capital projects manager. We do not have that position filled right now.
Correct.
And in order to make sure that the construction is on time, we need the collaboration between the contractors, the general GCs. Even this week, as we start to shut down, we have huge projects this summer going on in the district around capital project. The majority of the buildings will be either getting work done on AC installation or general building with the CTE Center. He is the rep for the districts that's oversighting and coordinating with all of those vendors.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Peterson, is he here full-time, part-time, 1 day, 2 day, 3 days?
He is here. I would have to get back to you on the exact time frame that he is here, but I know that there's definitely, hold on, let me see if it's actually in content. And I also want the community and the board to be aware that many of these meetings, because you're meeting with architects and engineers and the state education department, it's not just here in district. It is in Albany getting plans approved with the architect in their location. Sometimes it's with different vendors, so he is working on our behalf to make sure that things are submitted to the state education department for approval and to make sure plans are in.
Ms. Boucher?
What was his original contract amount?
His original contract amount, I would have to look back in board docs, was probably somewhere between, actually, I don't want to misspeak, but the increase that we're seeing in this contract right now is due to the expansion of projects. We have the locker room construction going on right now, New Windsor bid in construction, the completion of the CTE Center. So he's overseeing many of our capital projects right now.
Ms. Boucher?
Is that enough for just one person? Does that not need to be split up? Like, is he handling all of them?
What the hope would be that we would get an owner's rep. You know, we want to make sure that the construction is moving and stays within the timeline that we have set forth. We all know that we are being impacted financially by the tariffs and different timelines around materials. So the goal is to make sure that we are executing the community's bond in a fiscal prudent way. So, you know, it would be helpful to have this owner's rep overseeing this, looking over change orders, working with GCs, working with the site managers to ensure that we're getting things done and we're meeting deadlines.
Mr. Howard?
Thank you. So, Ms. Peterson, has he missed any deadlines? Has there been any complaints? Has there been any issues with this gentleman?
No, Mr. Thurnell is well respected. He actually worked at the state education department in this building projects arena. So he was a person that looked over plans, and we were fortunate enough as a district to have him come and work on our project. You could see in the community around us what we have been able to accomplish under his leadership, the facilitation and the completion of Valesgate and New Windsor, the completion of Heritage, and just starting to go out to bid, on New Windsor, the completion of Valesgate and Heritage, as well as additional emergency projects, the concrete repair at NFA, the roof replacement at NFA, in collaboration with Mr. Velez. He has been a great asset to us in making sure that our projects are on time. You know, my hope is definitely not to ever slow down what is going on with that CTE Center. Our community is waiting for it.
Absolutely.
And he's been an essential part of ensuring that that project is on time and is staying within the budget.
Thank you.
So what happened to our construction management?
If that's a question you'd like me to answer, we could go into executive. I can't answer that question on the floor.
Yeah, for his consulting contract, I believe I found what you were looking for as far as the amount originally was $75,000.
If there's many iterations, Mrs. Bello, of his contract, and that is based on the scope of work. So when that initial contract came in, we had a project some of this I can't answer on the floor. I can answer in executive session, but the amount that he is asking is due to the scope of work that the district has placed on him. So the scope of work has expanded since the initial contract.
I understand, it's just somebody had asked the question originally, what he originally had been paid, that's what I was speaking to.
Can we move this into executive session? No,
I'd like to make a motion to table.
okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
To table 8.3, Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
No.
Mr. Duray, or excuse me, Mr. Howard,
No.
Ms. Politi,
No.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Tabling passes.
Okay,
Thank
number.
you, that concludes my items.
Okay. Number 9, the Assistant Superintendent of Technology, Mr. McGrath.
The Department of Technology and Data brings to the board's consideration items 9.1 through 9.23 consideration.
Does anyone want to separate any out? Okay, can I have a motion on 9.1 through 9.23 on consent?
So moved.
And a second. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. Howard, Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Thank you. This concludes my items.
Thank you. Item 10, the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction Elementary, Dr. O'Grady, who's filling in for Dr. Soto.
Thank you, Madam President. So the Curriculum Instruction Elementary level presents agenda items 11.1 and 10.1 and 10.2 for the board's consideration on consent.
Does anyone want to separate any? Okay. Can I have a motion on item 10.1 and 10.2?
So moved.
And second. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Howard, Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items for that division.
Okay. Number 11, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Secondary, Dr. Soto.
Thank you. Madam President, I also have a walk-on item that I'm hoping that we can approve this evening as well, with your permission.
Can we hear the item?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. So the Assistant Commissioner of the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages sent a memo to all New York State public schools inviting our students to participate in an essay contest. The winners of that essay contest will be afforded a multicultural experience, all expenses paid to the Dominican Republic, where they will also meet the President of the Dominican Republic. So I want to publicly thank our Director of World Languages, Dr. Chastity Martinez-Morales, ENL teachers, the bilingual department, where they recruited students to write these essays. 114 students statewide participated in this program. 30 students were chosen to participate in the multicultural exchange. I am so proud to announce that 3 of our students were chosen. Yes. In addition, and this just gives me goosebumps, the number 1 essay that everyone on the panel agreed, there was a number 1 student, number 1 essay was our Newburgh student.
Go back.
So, with the board's permission, they were invited to attend a conference tomorrow. And I know it's short notice, but we were informed today. This conference will take place in New York City, where they'll have the opportunity to meet many educational dignitaries, the folks that are funding this cultural experience, and they'll also have the opportunity to read their essays.
So yes, I'd like a motion to add as 11.4, please.
So point of order, so we just need to amend 11.3 to add the following. NFA Maine, 3 students and 2 faculty to attend a field trip to George Washington High School in New York, as invited by the NYSED Assistant Commissioner of Bilingual Education on June 25th, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $1,250. The funding source would be federal and general.
So moved.
Motion to so amend, yeah.
Okay, so, it's okay, roll call.
Roll call to amend 11.3. Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. That concludes my items for this evening.
So, so point of order, we now need to vote on 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3.
We got too excited, so sorry about that.
Okay. Can I have a motion for 11.1 through 11.3?
So moved.
Roll call.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Number 12, Assistant Superintendent of Exceptional Learners, Mr. Bear.
Thank you, Madam President. The Exceptional Learner Division has items 12.1 through 12.4 on consent for the board's consideration.
Thank you. Does anyone want to separate any? No. Ms. Boucher?
12.4.
Can I have a motion on 12.1 through 12.3?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Yes. Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 12.4, can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Boucher?
There's no verbiage because it says 24 to 25. I want to confirm if this is for the summer or if this is for the full year.
Normally, in all our schools, the assistant principal in that school is the 504 chairperson. The assistant principal at Horizons on the Hudson is currently out. And to conclude all the 504s that need to happen until we literally do them to the end of the week, we need to have somebody who's approved by the board. So that's why we have the interim sub AP in there, as well as our school psychologist.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes. Next item is public comment on non-agenda items. Who's up first?
First person on the list for non-agenda items is Ms. Erica Perez. Mr. Miguel Amador. Mr. Ronaldo Santiago. Ms. Charlene Rosa. Ms. Jolene Guadalupe. Ms. Brittany Rosa. Ms. Dawn Fuchek.
Dawn Fuchek, Town of Newburgh. At the last board meeting, during the acting superintendent's update, she shared a portion of her resume. One of the slides noted that she previously served as a central office administrator for literacy. I'm aware that she did not hold that position while employed here in Newburgh. so I can only assume it was during her time in Community School District 5. However, that raises a question. How could she have held such a position before earning her school district leader SDL professional certificate? She did not receive that certificate until November of 2021. I bring this up to highlight a larger concern. When the board was selecting an acting superintendent, why was our current deputy superintendent overlooked? This individual has held a wide range of central office roles: director, executive director, assistant superintendent, and now deputy. She's advanced through a clear and traditional leadership path, gaining practical and varied experiences along the way. Who could be more qualified based on real-life experience and leadership development than our current deputy? And notably, serving in the role of acting superintendent is already included in her current job description. She is the logical and most qualified choice and a perfect fit for our district.
Mr. Mark Levinstein.
Everyone, so I didn't have anything planned for the non-agenda items, but a couple of points I'd just like to make. Firstly, it was great hearing about students who did exceptional work and are recognized. We don't hear it that often in this venue, so thank you for bringing that up, and thank our students for doing the work. And the other thing is, I think whoever is going to work on policy, they need to come up with a plan that if 5 board members walk out of the room, how do you end a meeting? If there's 4 left or 3, there has to be some way to end the meeting. It doesn't stay on forever till 2 weeks on the next meeting. It should be a way to have a majority vote to either continue or to call the meeting to an end. Thank you.
Miss Angela Paul Gato.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Paul Gato. From the town, resident in the town of Newburgh and business owner in the city, and a mom of 2 kids in the district, 1 head grader and 1 senior who was top 3 of the district of his class. So I just need to be proud. So this time I came a little more prepared with my speech, as I should have known better than talking under the emotion last time and allow a sore loser to twist my thoughts on social media and on the newspaper by taking my words out of context. So first I would like to congratulate all of our scholars and especially our seniors for all their accomplishment. Special thanks to the Students' Coalition for showing courage and perseverance at a time where they should only be worried about what outfit to wear to prom and being excited about their graduation. I wish the agenda items were more about the students' needs and that the majority of the board and the acting superintendent could have heard their concern without being offended. The connection and respect they have for the teacher, directors, and administration who got laid off unfairly should have been heard and should have made a difference. Congratulations to the seal of biliteracy ceremony, because it was very, very inspiring. Some of the students speaking more than 4 languages and speaking about how they have been learning English in a very short time, but still being able to succeed. Or one of them was speaking in French, so that was great for me. And it wasn't my son, but he was talking about the teachers, how much they love their teachers and how it was like a family, calling them like their second mama, and because those teachers was caring so much about all the students. Congratulations to our acting superintendent and the board majority for cleaning the house and leaving a real mess so more chaos can be blamed on the new board. You truly achieved, making us worried and getting angry. So I want to also thank you to allow us to wake up, and to start paying attention. This is thanks to you. Thanks to the board minority for hearing your community and trying your best to avoid taking terrible decisions. And congratulations to all other new board members for winning fairly a hard fight. Thanks to our community who allowed to win by voting fair and square. Parents, please start educating yourself on what a Board of Education is supposed to do and start attending those meetings more often, not just for football or coach issues. That should not be the only reason to show up. In general, could we work as a team and make sure that there won't be so many lack of transparency and miscommunication, which are truly impacting our students unfairly? Thank you.
Mr. Aiden Clocoon. Move on. Miss. Oh, perfect.
My name is Aiden, and I am here. I'm an 8th grader from a Heritage Middle School. I am here tonight to speak on behalf of someone who truly made a difference in our school, assistant principal, Miss Flores. Miss Flores didn't just do her job. She cared about us people. She checked in on us every single day, whether it was in hallways, in the classes, or even in the lunchroom. She made sure we were all right, and just with school, but with whether was thrown at us. She was preparing us for the high school in real ways, teaching us that we needed 21 credits to graduate, reminding us what's ahead, and she didn't just give lecture, and she made things fun too. She created activities and incentives in the cafeteria to keep us motivated and involved. And yes, sometimes she lectured us, but it was always to push us to do better and get to class and stay focused. We knew she cared about us, so you could feel it. Miss Millers got hurt during a fight trying to keep students' safe. She been out since then we missed her terribly. We are the 8th grader class that about to move on, but we are moving on without someone who lead us, support us, and believe in us. Many students and people in communities are asking some questions. Why was someone who really care about the kids go? We know who really for us and who not. Miss Flores was for us. Even though she was not there, we remember what she told us: better, be better, and do better. So we will, because she believed in us and we believe in her. Thank you.
Miss Alexis McCoy Yeagle. Mr. Jeffrey Woody.
Good evening, Jeff Woody, Newburgh. It's hard to believe that tonight is the last meeting for the 24-25 school year, but here we are. It's been a banner year. I hope that we can all agree that a lot has been accomplished. There's been a lot of arguing, name-calling, trolling, lies told, negativity, division, but not a lot of conversations, coming together for the sake of the children, trust building, community engagement for the sake of building relationships. We are Newburgh. NECSD is Newburgh. Whether you live in New Windsor, the city of Newburgh, or the town of Newburgh, we are Newburgh. So while we love to isolate ourselves from each other, let us remember that when it comes to the school district, we are all connected. When we conduct ourselves as we have this past school year, what are we really teaching our children? If we argue, fuss, and fight in front of them, they'll begin to believe that this is how they too should conduct themselves. Personally, very personally, I have been embarrassed, disappointed, dismayed, and outright disgusted while attending meetings. Whatever happened to having heated discussions behind closed doors and then presenting a unified front before the public? You will never agree with people all of the time. So you have to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. To the current board, thank you for your service to our school district. To the incoming school board, please review the 24-25 school year and promise yourselves that the 25-26 school year will be different. Commit to making the students your focus. Commit to working collaboratively. And know this, as we have held this current board accountable, we will do the same with you. We must bring things back into perspective. We can implement cutting-edge curriculum, but if the morale is abysmal, we won't be as productive as we need to be to move the success rates in a substantial way. God bless you.
Mr. Dennis Grant.
Dennis Grant, City Newburgh. Good intentions don't guarantee good outcomes. And what is going on with this school board is neither, except burn, baby, burn. Last board meeting, the president of the Newburgh Teachers Association was more concerned about the teachers that are leaving than the teachers that are being let go. I'm sure it means more to have more to act on a future lawsuit. As union president, one would think the president's job would be to fight for all of the teachers in the union, even the ones you don't like. This lack of harmony in leadership, with the combination of bullying of teachers and TAs from leadership, I'm sure has caused many teachers to run to other districts for refuge. I'm sure those districts will embrace and hire those asylum-seeking educators, because in this school district, the politics has been so civil warring. Teachers leave for sanctuary and to improve their mental health. And those teachers who want to remain, I salute you. I honor your steadfastness and resoluteness to remain a go-back educator. The collateral damage that this accumulating is cruel for careers and children in our district. Change, bold, reality, literacy rates have been declining. Madam President, you stated those words as if this just happened 3 years ago, and you're on it. Our children's literacy rates have been declining for decades. COVID helped, dropped it further, yeah. Change, Madam President, was in that seat as a district superintendent. That was change. Bold moves were being performed by her. But it wasn't your reality. It wasn't others' reality. It appears the reality of the clear coalition nincompoops champion is to have our district stay in a perpetual state of struggle for many, while others create themselves a good life. I'm talking about the last 30 years in this district, not the last 3. And the duty of this school board stinks. Hypocrisy, wretched, blameless. That is what has been achieved for decades. If you want change, be accountable. If you want bold, be accountable. If you want reality, be accountable. Many teachers here are being accountable. This board represents unreliable governance. And for our scholars, with these acts from this controlling school board, acting superintendent, and teachers union,
Time is
leadership
up,
deserves
Mr.
the-
Grant. Your
Yeah.
time is up.
You will stay reliable.
Miss Tracy Wallace.
Hi. I don't have a lot to say. I really do have some confusion as far as the agenda itself. I study the agenda, I look at the agenda to see what you're going to talk about, the relevance, how does it affect the students, I look at the policies. But for the past 2 meetings, there's a surprise presentation on the acting superintendent's part. It says superintendent update, and I remember when our suspended superintendent had an update, we were, prepared and ready for that update. I didn't know a resume was going to be shown. We weren't ready for the other presentation with the data, and I understand that, but if there's going to be a presentation, I'm just asking for, with the 24-hour notice, to just put that on the agenda. That's just a comment on that. The other, I just wanted to advocate for the community because there was a lot of community members that were really upset at the school being shut down on half days all week. I understand for the heat, but there should be some buildings. I know I went to my son's school today. He had a moving up ceremony. They did a great job. Congratulations to them in Meadow Hill. And they did have air conditioning in some parts. They had fans. It worked out for us. It was early in the morning. I mean, it did work out. There was a lot of people there. They had fans. They had air conditioning in the gym. We moved there to eat. We were able to get our kids. It worked out well. But again, for parents that are working, it was really difficult for them to find babysitters at the last minute. People had to take off of work. So if you're going to do a half-day dismissal, just try to be mindful that not everyone has the same situation that has reliable babysitting for their children. That's it. Thanks.
Miss Melanie Collins. Mr. David Ryan. Miss Maria Pushkanter.
All right. Right now, I'm actually up here not to speak about myself or frankly any one of us, but about the people that actually matter, and that is the children. That is what we should be able to agree on. The power and promise of student voice, which, by the way, is an important component of the science of reading, as is civic engagement as it relates to cultural responsive pedagogy, just FYI. Recently, we've seen some of our scholars speak out publicly, passionately, and courageously about issues they care about. Frankly, most of us here never had that courage or interest in policy or local politics at their age. Whether you agree with their position or not is beside the point. What matters is that they are paying attention, they are thinking critically, they are reading, they are engaging with the community, using their voices, stepping into civic life. As an immigrant myself, I still remember my grandmother when we first moved to the country, and she said, "We love America," because of the freedom of thought and the freedom of religion, and most importantly, the opportunities education brings. That is not something to be criticized. It is not something to be celebrated. As educators, our job is not to create passive learners. It is to cultivate thinkers, listeners, speakers, and leaders. When our students take initiative to attend board meetings, research policy, advocate for themselves and others, they are doing exactly what we hoped they would do after years in classrooms. They are showing that they care. They are watching that they believe in the power of public institutions, including us, by the way. Let's not forget, they are teenagers, seniors in their final year of high school. They are choosing to participate in democracy, not just scroll through it. They are learning how systems work and how to respectfully push for change. Respectfully. That takes courage, that takes maturity, that takes a level of engagement we should be proud of. It is we as a district, whether I work here or not, that are serious about equity, voice, and leadership, then we must be consistent in how we treat students and show that. We cannot say we want critical thinkers, then criticize them for thinking critically. We cannot say we want engaged citizens, then dismiss them when they speak up. Let's celebrate our scholars, not bash them. Let's be proud of the fact that they are not just preparing for their future, they're stepping into it. And by the way, they'll be leading this country when we're in like senior homes and such. It's up to us to recognize the many talents our kids have, celebrate every scholar, and protect them from anyone who tries to take away their power or their joy, and be their role models and greatest supporters.
Mr. Jim Niblo. Mr. Niblo, you going to speak?
It should be shorter than 3 minutes. So I've been here for 23 years. It's been a pretty good run. I'm proud to have worked with such a great team. We have 10 building techs that handle about, 12,000 kids and their Chromebooks, plus admin computers, teachers' computers. And plus we have a couple of back office guys who support everything as well. And now I want to say something about my bosses. I love you guys. Great bosses, tough, fair, and great thinkers, and great leaders, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
That was a goodbye speech. Isn't he retiring? Yeah.
There is nobody else signed up on non-agenda items. If you'd like to speak on non-agenda items, please step forward.
Good evening. Matt Dotto, one of the NFA co-principals. I would like to say one thing. Picture yourself on Academy Field on Thursday. What's happening on Thursday? We're graduating over 700 students. If I'm the last speaker, I wanted to end with something positive. There's a lot to say, there's a lot to process, but everything we do is for Thursday. Every battle, every fight is go back for life. And on Thursday, and I know I can speak for Ms. Valentino as well, and the other admin at NFA, it's a pre-K to 12 celebration. It is not what we see here. And I'm sorry, I could speak to that. There's so much to process. But I was moved to come up here, and I hope that you will be there Thursday and you will appreciate why we celebrate what we do here in Newburgh. And disturbing for some of the things that happened here tonight, but I hope that the celebration on Thursday is real and it means something to everybody, especially our students. Because we're not only facing them, they're facing us on that field. So take a moment before I end my 3 minutes. Jim, slow me down a little bit. And just imagine yourself in Academy Field as I did back in 1982. Yes, a long time ago. And on July 1st, it'll be 36 and a half years for me in this district. And I am not ashamed of being a goldback. I am not ashamed of any of our kids, any of our community, of what we will become come Thursday, Goldback for Life. And that's a preview to graduation. Thank you.
If anybody else would like to address the board on non-agenda items, please step forward.
Nothing left to say. When we run out of ideas, of drive, of motivation to continue a conversation, you say that we have nothing left to say. This is not the case for the Students' Choice Coalition. It was never about us, or winning an election, or anything like that. It was about the students and the community of NECSD, all of them, for years to come. And that is what will happen. In 2 days, us founding members will no longer be students of NFA. We'll be passing it on, the Students' Choice Coalition, to the next generation of seniors, as will they, for as long as students care about their district and about being forces of change and good in their community. We would like to thank everyone, and I do mean everyone, for letting us speak here at meetings and allowing us to make real changes. That is all.
If anyone else would like to address the board on non-agenda items, please step forward.
Hi, Sabrina Dolfinger. I'm a teacher at Horizons. I was not going to get up here and speak. However, my former student spoke, so I was compelled to come up here. He is the reason that we're here. They are, right? The reason why we get up, do what we do. The ones who we see struggle are always on our heart. If you're a good teacher, that's what you do. You worry about them. How do you move them forward? I don't think anybody in the district, anybody who is in education, would say that they haven't been concerned with reading. I don't think so. And as someone said, this hasn't just happened. And so I'm glad that we're addressing it. It makes me sad that we're addressing it now because it's not just about black and brown kids. It's always been about black and brown kids, but now we're addressing it because it's other kids too. But we're here, right? I just want to say that I appreciate, I do Wilson's myself. I also do foundations. I paid for it on my own because I believe that you do whatever you can to help children, right? But I also know as a teacher and as a person who's been in this district for 20 years and a proud graduate in 1982 of in NECSD, that is not just about reading. And there are going to be some kids, there are going to be some of our students who aren't going to cross Academy Field, and it's not going to be because of reading. So just keep in mind that when we're talking about reading, we have to address the other issues as well, because there are a lot of things that go on that impede them and stop them from reading and stop them from being in those seats. And whatever program we have, if they're not willing to be in those seats, we're not going to address the issue. So let's not just forget that there's a lot going on in our community. Our kids come to school and they have a lot on their mind. And quite frankly, reading is not one of them because they have seen that they go out and get an education and they still can't get ahead. That's been a lived experience in their families, in their community. So they make do with what they have. So we can't just address what happens in school. It's not going to be enough. So I just want to say, don't don't think that this is going to be a magic pill. We're going to need other things, and I hope that you address those as well. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board on non-agenda items? If so, please step forward.
Good evening, everyone. Sade Burks, resident of the city of Newburgh. I just want to also congratulate the students. I did not, this was a surprise to me when they came to a meeting in January, even though, you know, there's been some false narratives put out there that myself and others have, you know, manipulated them and encouraged them to come up and do what they've done. I was just as surprised at you guys when they showed up to a January meeting and spoke their concerns, and I was so proud of them. So it is a slap in the face for you guys to take this election and twist it and turn it because you did not win and penalize these students for doing what they were taught to do as kids, as to speak up. I also want to address some other concerns that were brought to me. Listen, I'm here. I ran this election. I ran it and I won it fair and square. I've been showing up to these meetings for 3 to 4 years since I found out about my son's diagnosis. I didn't just pop up here and there or watch on the computer or take notes from anyone. I came and I showed my face and I fought for my son, and that is what I ran on. I didn't run on lying or telling anybody that I can bring their taxes down or do this and that. I simply promised them what I've shown them, which is advocacy. Yes, I have came up here a few times, and yes, I have gotten a little irate. But as I teach my son, when you do something that is wrong, you apologize and you keep it moving. You cannot make the other choice, the other person accept your apology. But if they do, it's nice. But if they don't, then it is what it is. I will continue to be here. You can continue to spread lies about me on social media. You can do whatever you want. You cannot dismantle me. You cannot discredit my character. You cannot do any of those things. I am a TA. I stand firm in that. The acting superintendent have seen me advocate in meetings for my son. She even stood up for me one time when they did not want to give me a one-to-one. So I would believe that she would know that I would advocate the same for these students. And I would believe that she would be advising you guys as well. But listen to me and listen to me good. Keep lying. Keep spreading your false narratives on Facebook. I'm here to stay, whether I'm in that seat or whether I'm in this community. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board on non-agenda items?
Mr. Howard?
Thank you, Madam President. So, as we sit here, I think that this is something that we really needed to do tonight. And when we talk about students, we have some students here tonight, and as Mr. Dotto has stated, on Thursday, we'll be graduating over 700 students. And I think that we as a district, we as a board, we have not done right by our students. We have not celebrated the greatness of our students. We have not celebrated the greatness of our teachers that have gotten 700 students across Academy Field. We have not celebrated the teachers that are doing incredible things in our elementary schools, in our middle schools, and our administrators that are doing the things that we do. We focus on the small percentage of things that are negative, and as you see it on social media, you see it at our meetings, you see it throughout conversations in the community. I think that needs to stop. We do great things, and I tell young people, and I'm in those buildings, I see young people doing great things every day. I was at a ribbon cutting ceremony last week at New Windsor School, and then afterwards I went down to the music room, Miss Pentecosta's room, and I just saw kids that were excited about learning, excited about what they were doing, excited about music. And I saw the kids at the ribbon cutting ceremony, and the entire population of the building was out there. And I saw a teacher give a sign. It was a clap, bat, 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 bat. Every student out there was quiet. Every student out there was engaged in what was going on. That's what's going on in our buildings. Things like that. Let's celebrate the greatness of our district. Let's celebrate the greatness of our communities. And let's celebrate our kids. Those young people who have stepped forward as a student coalition, There are much more students at Newburgh Free Academy just like them. The students at NFA West, the students at NFA North, the students at NFA Main. We have some great things going on in our district, but you wouldn't know it if you just look at our school board meetings. You wouldn't understand the greatness. Yes, we do celebrate students, but I'm telling you, we have to get to a place where this is about kids. It's about getting kids across the academy field. I'm gonna leave you with this. Somebody asked me the other day, how much do they pay you as a school board member? I said, it's volunteer. They said, you don't get paid? I said, no, I do get paid. I get paid. I said, my pay is every time I see a student or a child that I know has positively impacted from a decision that we have made at the school board level. They don't know, but I know what we've done. I know some of the decisions we've made. I know some of the policies we put in place to help them get to where they need to go. That's my pay, and it's priceless. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Purpose.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby recesses into executive session for the following purpose. Matters made confidential under FERPA, matters leading to the employment of particular employees or corporations, employment history of employees or corporations, collective bargaining under the Taylor Law, NTA, and to obtain advice from legal counsel, and be it known that the board may take action after executive session. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes. Okay, can I have a motion to add 3 items to the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Mr. McCoy will read them.
The 3 items that are getting added to the agenda are as follows. Be it resolved that the board president is hereby authorized to sign an employee-related agreement with Christopher Bear dated June 22nd, 2025, and accepts his letter of resignation for the purpose of retirement as presented to the board at this meeting. A copy of said agreement shall be incorporated by reference in the minutes of this meeting. That's Resolution 1. Resolution 2 that's getting added is, be it resolved that employee number 6225 shall be suspended with pay during the pendency of said education law, Section 3020A proceedings. Resolution 3 reads as follows. Be it resolved that employee 62425-1 shall be suspended with pay during the pendency of a contractual due process hearing.
Okay. Resolution 1, can I?
Point of order.
Oh.
So now you just need a roll call on the added items.
Oh. Okay, roll call on the added items.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
So, Mr. Bear, you need to vote on that one.
So on the first resolution, can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
On the second resolution, can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello? Ms.
Yes.
Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
That item passes.
On the third resolution, can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bergarelli?
No.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. Politi?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello? Ms.
Yes.
Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
That item passes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
It's been real.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.